Hey, it's Tank Tuesday here. PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. A day after we celebrated the return of Budda Baker, is he indirectly contributing now to Tank Tuesday? Bo Brock, Johnny Venerable, Bo, my better half, tan lines and all, sporting those tan lines at the Tepe facility with the Cardinals this morning. Got a sneak peek, an inside look at the 2023 Arizona Cardinals for the first day of mandatory minicamp. Sands on the field, one Budda Baker.
Thank you very much, Johnny Venerable, on a Tank Tuesday. Excited about it and excited to talk to all of you. And it was pretty surprising after yesterday, Ian Rappaport saying that Budda's in the building. He's returned, right? The prodigal son has returned to the organization that he felt slighted by, right? He was going to go off and make all this money, and then he's back, right? Because he doesn't want to get fined. He's beast moding it. And, you know, he doesn't take the practice field. And so we're riding this roller coaster of emotion. And we know we're going to get to talk to Jonathan Gannon afterwards and kind of get the skinny on what's going on from their side of things. And we hear from JG, and he kind of like shed some light. I think he probably eased some people who were freaking out that Budda wasn't out here. Here's what JG had to say about Budda.
Yeah, it was good to have him in the building today. Smile on his face. He was asking a bunch of questions. I told them coaches, you better be on your toes because he's going to ask good coaches. So not on the field. He's working through some things. Have really good conversations with him. The dialogue has been great, and I'm ready to get 3 back out there.
So this is what's great about JG, because you feel like this is going to be an answer that he meets, or a question that he answers seriously, and he comes out with like this enthusiasm. He's like, it's great having Budda back in the building. It's like, well, where was he? How come he wasn't on the playing field? And he says he's working out some things, and there were some follow-up questions from Craig Fouie and Cam Cox and Josh Weinfuss about, what are some things? Those things, are they in regards to his contract? Is it a Monty Ossenfort thing? And we didn't get a clear answer on that. But, Budda Baker is there, and Jonathan Gannon seems to be happy with where they are as of right now.
JG has some Tony Robbins vibes, doesn't he? He's a big guy. He's super positive. He's got these monster hands, right? And I was surprised by that. I thought one of two things was going to happen. I thought Budda Baker was going to come out. I thought they were going to make him available to you and the rest of the media, and he was going to come out and say, I'm here because I love this team. I love this franchise. I hope we get something done. Or I anticipated, when I saw from everybody covering the team this morning that Budda Baker wasn't present, I thought there'd be some angst. But the Cardinals, very politically, are doing a nice job deflecting, where they want Budda Baker out there, and they want everybody to know that they want that. And then in turn, it's up to Budda Baker now to answer those questions. Why aren't you participating? Where are you, Budda Baker? That's what the fans will focus on. Now, my question to you, Bo Brock, is so he's not on the field during minicamp.
Yeah.
I don't think we expect him on the field indefinitely right now. I don't think, I know he was asked if he's going to be on the field tomorrow, and he says, we'll see. I don't know. Why would he not practice today and practice tomorrow without a new deal? That doesn't make sense. Is he getting fined for these missed practices, or is he coming up with some kind of like faux injury? How does this all work? Because the biggest thing was mandatory means you have to show up or you don't get paid, or you get docked pay. Well, he's there. We confirmed yesterday he was there. He's there today in the building. He's not on the practice field. So how does this all work from a leverage standpoint for Budda?
Yeah, was there ever a quiz that you weren't prepared for? So you
every
tell
one
your
of
teacher
them,
you got to go see the school nurse because you got a little tummy ache. Maybe it's the equivalent of that. I don't think I think he's probably put himself in a position where he's not going to incur any fines. And as far as you kind of speculating, like, why would we see him tomorrow, the final of 2-day mandatory mini camp? Like, what would be the point of that? And I don't know what it would be. And so tomorrow is the last day, right, before things get real. And Jonathan Gannon, I think he accidentally slipped out when the first practice is going to be today. I think it's going to be July 27th for training camp. So that's a month and a half away. So we're not going to have any clarity between now and then. And, I think I came to the realization today is like, we're not going to know Budda Baker's status until day one of training camp. and if he's on the field or if he's not. Like, because I don't think anybody truly knows at this point. It's just remember how fluid the DeAndre Hopkins conversation was? I think that's where we are right now. I mean, I think you can rule some things out, like and you've got this pretty ironclad source. Like, the team has no want in it's not going to explore trading Budda Baker. But as far as him figuring out a common ground with the organization that he requested a trade from right now, there doesn't seem to be any sense of urgency doing so.
Well, yeah, we have it sourced here from somebody I trust that says like even if everybody was on board, like it doesn't sound like Michael Bidwell has any interest in doing that. And Austin Ford also does not want to empower players thinking, well, if you demand a trade, we're going to appease that. But also, you could flip that on its head and say, well, of course, then why would he give a contract extension to somebody who's sitting out of practice? And my point yesterday was, well, Budda's the outlier. It's unfortunate that Keim set a precedent with paying guys like Marcus Golden and DJ Humphries, with all due respect, from holding in. But if there is one player you're going to do that with, it's a Fitzgerald Budda Baker-esque type of player. Josh Weinfuss, Kyle Odegaard, friend of the program, put out a nice article earlier today, kind of depicting what the options are and what the scenarios the Cardinals and their fan base could be facing here in the coming weeks. And I thought they're interesting. I'm anxious to pick your brain, Bo, because I have my opinion on what I think is going to come down. But Kyle laid it out nicely. It's like, okay, they're either going to, I hate to use the word cave, but they're either going to pay him. They're going to pay him more money, whatever that looks like. They're going to trade him like a certain New Orleans team did with a certain safety last year to Philadelphia in CJ Gardner-Johnson. And that turned out well for Philadelphia. Or it's going to get really ugly to the point where Budda's holding out, the Cardinals move on, and I don't know what happens, like indefinite just kind of noise. And the Cardinals don't want that. It's a big reason why I thought adamantly after the draft, like, how can DeAndre Hopkins be on this team? You've actively tried to move him for months, and he's just on the team now after that 3-day draft. You've got to figure something out. I thought they trade him still, but and letting him. They don't want this distraction, especially for the young players. Before I give you my answer, what do you think is the end result of all this? Because it's clear, number 3, not going to participate, even though he told Cam Cox, like, it's half true, half false. Oh, I'll be at minicamp.
Yeah.
Participating. What comes next, do you think, Bo Brock?
I mean, when you lay out the 3 scenarios that Kyle did, it seems like the latter, like the final one, seems like the most I don't think it's going to happen, right? As far as him really standing his ground and sitting out and basically giving away money in order to force a trade that the Cardinals aren't going to entertain. I just don't think that it doesn't seem like he is built that way. I don't think it seems like something Budda wants to do. And there's time where these parties, unfortunately, there's still time on the calendar between now and training camp and preseason and the regular season for parties involved to try to create leverage. And the party that really needs to try to create leverage is Budda Baker and his representation, because I think the Cardinals have drawn a line in the sand where they are. But I don't know if it's that dramatic either. Like, you hear from Isaiah Simmons saying, we'll hear later from Isaiah Simmons about himself, but Isaiah Simmons talking about Budda Baker. He says he's the same old Budda. He's in there. He's got a smile on his face. He's a guy. He's putting in the work. He's watching film. He's telling you what he watched on the film. He's still the teammate that everybody, spoke highly of. He's just, got this negotiation and this business, dealing with the business side, the ugly side of this business, and dealing with it, pretty much like any other NFL player would. That we thought, Budda Baker was the exception to, where he's not any different. Like, he's trying to cash in while he can, and we'll see if it works out for him. Still, like, if Budda Baker shows up day 1 at training camp and he doesn't, miss any holdout days, or if it becomes a hold-in where he can find out some like mystery illness like we saw with a couple players last training camp, that might give him some time, but I don't think it's going to get him any opportunities to get a new deal.
Yeah, well said. I think it'll end up being a scenario in which, and Kyle outlined this in his article, and something we've been talking about, like kicking him a little bit extra money this year that doesn't hamper you next year or the year after that. And, Kyle was very adamant, kind of in the mindset of you, Bo, where it's like, well, you can't hamper future years. You can't pay Budda Baker future years in which his play might be diminishing for a team that's trying to rebuild.
Yeah.
And I've always been of the mindset, like, well, these next 2 years, you're going to have so much money. What's the downside of keeping Budda Baker happy? But that I think that's going to happen. I'm not convinced, though. Like, Ossenford showed us during the draft period and before that, he's a shrewd negotiator. And, he came out and said all the right things on Arizona sports, and Gannon talked a little bit about it today, that it's an organizational, not issue, but opportunity, figuring out what to do with Budda's contract. But I mean, like, it would not surprise me, especially if things go south and Ossenford gets tired of negotiating and having his star safety sit out. It's just like, I'm done. I'm done doing this, putting a hard line in the sand. And I can't say I blame him, in part because of responses like this. Let's get to some of these chats here. Michael Evans, I'm almost done with Budda like I was with D-Hop. And I think, listen, a lot of people could scoff at this. The status of not only this franchise, but Arizona sports is very fragile right now. And I'll say that in the best possible way. It's like everything going on with the Coyotes, right? With the Suns, fall short in the playoffs. Like, we're burned by our stars. Hopkins is cut. Kyler's situation is dicey. They fire Cliff. They fire Keim. It's like, you want something to hold on to. And it's like, Fitz, in my opinion, he was a diminishing player late. They overpaid him, but he always kind of resonated that excellence and that grace that you needed to get through the thick times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you never had these scenarios with Larry Fitzgerald, in part because Michael Bidwell always made sure he's well compensated. But Cardinal fans and Valley fans need Budda Baker to be in the mix and feel good about their all-pro safety, hopefully future Hall of Fame safety. But I do, like, Michael's comment is not a one-off. I have seen that more and more. It's just like, just get rid of this guy. He's 28. He plays safety, which is unfortunate. Like, but I have no problem with you saying it, because right now we're in mid-June and he's choosing not to practice with 2 years left on his deal. I mean, everybody's at fault here one way or the other.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 1-year deal. And I think that's one of the problems Budda Baker has, is like, he has no control over his future. He wants some say, he wants some guarantee, because right now, he could potentially be going into a lame duck year, and he wants to say, hey, like this, I'm important to this franchise. I've been important to this franchise. I was the glue for this franchise when it was falling apart. I was the only glue, right? I mean, and so as far as he wants to be rewarded for that in his prime years, and they're not going to give it to him. I'm curious, like, why they move forward with, the Rappaport report yesterday, and then Monty going on Arizona sports. Like, everybody's saying everything's hunky-dory, like everything's sunshine and rainbows and butterflies, but like, we still haven't seen Budda Baker back on the practice field.
To his agent's point, he's probably like, Budda, we requested a trade or for you to be paid, then you can't just go and practice then. So and Budda might want to go practice. He might want to say, well, I want to be out there. I'm getting the itch. I want to be with my teammates. I've been working my butt off all offseason. Best shape of my life. I've got abs on my back, for God's sakes. I want to go and be with my teammates. This could be agent driven. It's like, hey, Budda, I do this for a job. I do this as a professional. I'm trying to get you paid one more time, a nice payday. Let me do my job. That would not surprise me if that's what's happening. I do think, I do not have the source. I've been trying all day. Like, I do think the Cardinals are actively negotiating with Budda's people. I don't know that definitively. It would be shocking if that wasn't happening, given Ossenford's comments. But what's the breaking point here? I do think it's not a good look for him to come to mandatory minicamp and not participate. That's a tough go. Either stick to your guns and don't come and don't practice, and then everybody's talking about it on social and Budda's back. With this show, we're getting excited about it, and he's not on the field today. Well, read a playbook from home.
If you read Darren Urban's article on azcardinals.com, the quote, and then he fills in some of the quote too, saying he's not on the field, he's working through some things, and it's in not quotations, but brackets, business wise. So, like,
we know what that means.
Are they negotiating? And we'll see. I mean, everybody right now, if you're taking attendance for Arizona Cardinals mandatory minicamp, they had a perfect attendance, even though they didn't have everybody out there on the playing field. And I'm now putting myself in the camp of, until I see him take the practice field, I'm going to kind of take everything with a grain of salt.
I don't disagree. Man, it seemed like yesterday, and you disagreed, and that's okay. I thought he was going to get more money. I thought they were going to work that out, and while they were figuring that out, he was going to participate. And there were a lot of people, Bo, like you, who thought, okay, I think he's just going to come and be a good soldier again and let the chips fall where they may. We remember what we were told from somebody last year, like Kyler Murray was not going to practice until he got his contract.
Yeah.
Right? Was not going to participate, and then potentially was going to physically hold out. This is a hold in by Budda Baker. Kyler had, I would say, significantly more leverage and was going to hold out at training camp. And guess what? They got a new contract done. So it's not at that level. It's not DEFCON 5, but I do, we could be seated in here for a long haul. And after what everybody just went through with DeAndre Hopkins, who we're going to talk about here in a little bit, it's not fun for Cardinal fans, especially those trying to cop that red or white number 3 jersey, the new jersey. They want to feel good about that Budda Baker purchase. Can't right now. I'll tell you about something you can feel good about. It's our friends at BetMGM. How about this? Swing for the fences. Sign up with that sweet code PHNX. It's super easy to get started. To grab this, you log on your BetMGM Sportsbook app. You can get it on iOS, Android. Play the BetMGM MLB free-to-play game dating back in May through the entirety of the summer. September 7th is the last day. Be a batter and pick an area of the strike zone. And depending on your area of the strike zone you pitch, you're going to get a single, double, triple, or a home run or a pop out and receive the prize associated with that type of hit on the BetMGM Sportsbook app. I've been checking this out all day. It's fantastic. However, whatever prize you get, you got to use it in a 24-hour period. It does expire. But what doesn't expire is our love for BetMGM. If you haven't signed up yet with BetMGM Sportsbook, the official home of PHNX Cardinals this fall, every single Sunday, myself, Bo Brock, we hope the entirety of the PHNX Cardinals crew at State Farm Stadium at the Great Lawn. We're going to be hanging out on our BetMGM Sportsbook app using that bonus code PHNX. Now, there's a few different offers depending on where you live, but for our folks in Arizona, you're going to get up to $100 in bonus bets on your first wager with BetMGM. Again, make sure using that sweet bonus code PHNX. Check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to my guy Shane Diefenbach talk about it in the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
I can't wait to get to the BetMGM Sportsbook this fall and have a Four Peaks beer with all of you that coming out in there and join us at the tailgate. Of course, we're going to pregame it there. We're going to take in the game. Johnny's going to be holding down some halftime shows, and then we're going to be doing our postgame at the BetMGM Sportsbook. And on tap, they've got the Wow Wheat, the #1 wheat in Arizona. It's delicious from Four Peaks Brewed right on 8th Street, their location. Kilt Lifter, it's their flagship. They also have that, plus some tasty IPAs. Get in on all the brew that Four Peaks is churning out. Of course, woven within the fabric of our great state for the last 25 years is Four Peaks. Follow them on your socials as well, at Four Peaks Brew and at Four Peaks Pub. They got great content every day. Plus, they've got giveaways, like they gave away the D-backs Four Seeks. They'll get you up to the Four Peaks draft room, which is up there in right field. Who doesn't want to go drink Four Peaks beer and watch the hot D-backs? We just had a great come from behind win last night. You can also, with the kids off done for summer, you can help thank a teacher and all the hard work they put in during the school year. You can go to their website, fourpeaksforteachers.org, and nominate, donate, and reserve a teacher kit. Plus, you got so many great beers at Four Peaks. Such great food on the menu. It's more than just a brewery. Elite menu from appetizers to entrees to desserts. Go check out Four Peaks, especially check them out on the socials at Four Peaks Brew and at Four Peaks Pub. Got to be 21 years or older and drink it responsibly.
As the secondary turns, Budda Baker at least temporarily out, Isaiah Simmons firmly in. Isaiah Simmons to Bo Brock and the rest of the media today confirming the days of him pour one out, pour Four Peaks out, not too much on the floor, to Isaiah Simmons playing linebacker. It is done, finito, over. He is officially, you take your cap off in remembrance of Isaiah Simmons' days at linebacker from 2020 until the spring of 2023. He is a permanent defensive back, Bo Brock. Now, does that mean safety? Does that mean slot corner? We're going to have to wait to see that into this fall. But it's pretty historic hearing the former 8th overall pick that was supposed to come and revolutionize that position be moved less than 4 years later.
Yeah, you hear it straight from Isaiah Simmons. We asked him, are you a defensive back? This is what he had to say.
I've been with the defensive back so far. We're just kind of taking it from there as of now. So moving forward, I'll be with the defensive backs.
I'm taking my talents to South Beach. It's reminiscent, right? It just is big a move as LeBron James joining the Heat way back when. No, it's look, it's interesting, right? And Cardinals fans kind of all are I'm sure feeling a little it's just overwhelming sometimes with this organization, how they go back and forth. It's like Steve Keim saying he's an inside linebacker, Vance Joseph not letting up. He's a star backer. He's a linebacker. His versatilities, we're going to key in on his versatility. Cliff Kingsbury, he's a linebacker. Jonathan Gannon, we're going to take advantage of his versatility. And then we talk to our guy, Isaiah Simmons. He says, from here on forward, I'm a defensive back. I'm working with the DBs. And then, follow-up questions. He's like, well, I want to master being a DB right now. That's my focus, paraphrasing for Isaiah.
I'm sorry. That makes the Cardinals have safeties. We don't need another. I'm sure that's his best position. That was breaking news from Isaiah Simmons. Here's some also breaking news. Steve Keim, not a good GM. Actually, very, very bad at selecting players. And Isaiah Simmons with a different franchise, maybe it works out quicker. Steve Keim, Zaven Collins, inside linebacker, nope, you're a pass rusher. Isaiah Simmons, inside linebacker, nope, you're a safety. Hassan Reddick, inside linebacker, nope, you're a defensive end. Dayon Buchanan, dollar linebacker, safety, doesn't work out. My man took 4 linebackers in the first round, and none of them stayed at their initial position. Everybody moved. It's disappointing, not surprising. We need Zaven to come out and say, Zaven, you're a pass rusher. You were with the pass rushers today. Stop the insanity. It's great for Isaiah just to come out and say, like, first of all, my better half was at training camp last year. Nobody got more shit than Bo Brock when he would come out and say, Isaiah Simmons is a safety. He's practicing with the DBs. No, he's not. He's a linebacker. I literally saw it with my own eyes, guys. He's playing defensive back. And then he played 60, 70% of the snaps at DB this year.
Right.
And now he's a full-time safety. Do the Cardinals need another safety? No. They're paying Jalen Thompson and Budda Baker a premium. So that means it's almost compounded even worse. He's now going from a non-premium position to another non-premium position to which he doesn't have a starting role. He was the 8th overall pick. It's just and through no fault of his own. Everybody thinks I'm an Isaiah Simmons hater, and maybe I am to some degree. This is not his fault. This is just this. He's a victim of circumstance here. I could not be more out right now on this working out. That's my opinion.
I disagree, man. I really liked his temperament today, his mindset. Yeah,
that's fine.
I liked what I heard from Isaiah Simmons, and it's like the only way you can go from this is forward, especially from the dumpster fire that was the previous regime. Having him drink out of a fire hose as far as trying to learn all these roles and became a jack of all trades and master of none. And for them to have this idea of what he wants to play and him to definitively tell us today, I'm a DB. I think it's a bit refreshing, right? And I'm here with The Shoe. That's a great chat name. Thanks for joining us here on PHNX Cardinals. I trust Gannon putting him in the right spot, as do I. I'm gonna kind of give him the benefit of the doubt and see like if he's a slot corner on steroids. He's not gonna play like true safety. Like that's Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson. You're gonna have like a hybrid role where you're going to have 5-6 DBs on the field, and Isaiah Simmons is one of them with a little bit of an upside to be able to tackle and rein in, ball carriers better than most defensive backs can. So let's see what it's about. I really like what Isaiah said about his 5th-year option being declined and him going into his contract year.
Personally, I go about every year as a contract year. I just couldn't imagine somebody would go out there and not try to have the best season they could possibly have. So regardless if I'm going to get paid after this year or whenever, I'm going to go out there and just do the best I can do for my team and do whatever I can do.
To call him a bust, I think, is irresponsible. I really do. I think that did he meet expectations? No. Did he fall short of those? Probably. As the 8th overall pick, those are lofty expectations. But call him a bust, the guy who's basically put together back-to-back 100 tackle seasons, racked up some sacks here, made some game-changing plays. Like, guys who are labeled bust didn't do any of that. Like, Jamarcus Russell never had a decent game in his life. You can run off some decent games, really good games from Isaiah Simmons.
We've talked about there are various levels of busting.
Nah.
First of all, we also put a parameter on this show. You're not allowed to use tackles as a statistic of quality.
I never agreed to that.
Doc's in the chat.
You think a guy that doesn't wear any sleeves is about to take tackles off his stat list? Come on, man.
Oh, 11 tackles. We lost by 30 points. All pro, baby. 5th-year option. Pick it up. That's what Isaiah Simmons playing as a DB, getting all those tackles. That tells me the defense isn't very good. I like this comment from Joel. He's a starter if Budda's not around. I agree with that. He's playing safety right now. He's running with the ones. He's gonna run with. I'm sure he doesn't mind Budda Baker's hold in. I'm getting number one, time. And Gannon plays a ton of DBs. So like I might be selling him short in the sense that he's not part of the starting defense, but nickel corners get paid all the time. Safeties you're gonna get. Gannon plays a ton of defensive backs, and the Cardinals are going to play a lot of DBs because the front 7 players aren't very good.
He's not going to be. Yeah, he's not going to be in their base. Like, it doesn't feel like he's going to be in their base defense,
which is just crazy. That's so crazy.
It is. That's nutty. Like when you put it in that perspective. But like to your point, I mean, he plays maybe the majority of the downs throughout the game. In penny, nickel. As you said, he plays a ton of DBs, and with Isaiah, being labeled a DB, I think he's going to find his way. Kazir White was a big part of the Eagles defense last year. If you look at his games started, I don't think he even started 5 games last year, but he played a significant amount of snaps. He played starter snaps. So, and I think that Isaiah Simmons has the ability to do that.
Well, the best thing Isaiah Simmons has going for him is that he was mismanaged by the prior regime. He can hang his hat on that and say, hey, I achieved some accolades despite them. I achieved some statistics despite them. I'm only going to be 25 years old by the time the season kicks off. So if he enters free agency, by the time he starts a new contract with this team or another team, he's going to be 26 years old. And so he if he produces, he'll be in line for a nice payday. Will he ever live up to the 8th overall pick? No. I think that we can bury that's dead and buried. He's never going to be worthy of the 8th overall.
Along with his inside linebacker play, it's we buried it in the same coffin.
Yeah. Because here's I know this was my mindset. Like, he needed to be Kevin White, Luke Kuechly-esque, Roquan Smith early in his career. I mean, he just never was, and he's not great against the run, right? And to the people who are like, we got to put him in the box. I mean, he's not great against tight ends either. So it's like, what does he do that's great? I think he does a couple things really well, but can you build a position around that where you're going to pay somebody big money? Like the great top 10 linebackers in recent memory can do everything at a high level. So they're the outlier. That's why they're worthy of being paid. It's kind of like the running back of the Derrick Henrys and the Nick Chubbs. That's why you pay those guys. Isaiah Simmons, you know what he is? He's a niche player for a niche GM that fell in love not with how we projected to the NFL level, but with his statistics, right? With his measurables. That's not what being an NFL GM is about. That's why Monty Ossenford can say, yeah, this kid, Paris Johnson Jr., he played left tackle for 1 year, but he was elite, and he played in an elite program, and what he does perfectly transitions to what we're going to do. Plug and play. We're not screwing around and putting him at guard. The Cardinals under Steve, they did the opposite of that. They just kind of took a bunch of ingredients and threw it to their chefs and said, make us something competent. They just couldn't do it. And so everybody's at fault here. So I'm not rooting against Isaiah Simmons, but does any of this surprise me? No, it does not. I think this has a very predictable ending where Isaiah has a nice year, similar to last year, where you look at it's like those are solid, and the Cardinals opt to not pay him, is how I think this is going to go down.
Yeah, but I think the pressure's off, right? And with that, he can exceed some expectations for the first time, and obviously with a lot better coaching, it could come even more stellar play from a guy like Isaiah Simmons. Like, it's like you talk about like kind of a mixed bag of ingredients. Like you went to the dollar store shopping and you're giving them to a 5-star chef, potentially with Gannon and Rawlis relative to VJ. I think that he has a chance to make a pretty surprising meal with these versatile players. Like, would he choose them? Probably not. But like, I think Jonathan Gannon is probably pretty excited about getting to utilize a player the caliber and as versatile as Isaiah Simmons, at least for a season. Like, is he going to go say, hey, go pay him $12 million, $15 million a year? No, absolutely not, because he knows he can go find it. Answering a couple questions here. Thunder. So is Kazir your starting linebacker? Kazir White is nursing an injury. It's not disclosed, but Jonathan Gannon says he was lobbying to practice today, and he'll be ready to go for mandatory minicamp. As far as his role, yeah, I fully expect him to be, the linebacker that's on the field for the majority, if not all the snaps for the Arizona Cardinals defense. And then you'll figure out, who's playing in the 4-3, the outside linebacker roles, and in the 3-4, who's going to play the other linebacker, or who's going to be the other inside linebacker with him. But yeah, I think it's Kazir White, and then behind him is Josh Woods, and then maybe Chris Barnes behind that. And then you look at Papo, you look at Kyle Soley as far as your inside linebackers in this defense.
Esteban, he was a freak. I mean, in Simmons in college, and now his weaknesses get exploited 100%. It happens, and now hopefully he can adjust. He is a strong safety, and we already have a great one, 100%. It reminds me of Buchanan, and I think had he been placed at safety since the moment they drafted him and they said, this is Cam Chancellor, this is Jamal Adams, then I think he would have obviously had a better trajectory. But now, foolishly, they put him in a position where under Vance Joseph and Steve Keim and Cliff Kingsbury, he was asked to do 100 different things, and he excelled at very few. So this will be, to the fairness of Isaiah, the first time he's asked to do one singular thing and play one singular position. I think that's a positive.
You're pretty hard on Deandre Buchanan, who had a nice career too.
Deandre Buchanan, a fellow first rounder of Steve Keim that did not get a second
traded
contract.
Down. Remember, he traded down.
Can we raise the bar a little bit?
I understand. If you look at the players that they traded down and could have drafted in the mid-20s in that draft, or who was on the board when they took Deandre Buchanan, you'd say take those guys, right? There's probably 3 players before and after him that you could have selected. But I thought Deandre Buchanan was a solid Cardinals player for throughout. He played throughout his
he got his 5th-year option. I think Deandre Buchanan with Todd,
but he wasn't the 8th overall pick too, and that's where I'll agree with you.
He didn't get taken over Tristan Wirfs. He didn't get taken over Jedrick Wills. He didn't get taken over CeeDee Lamb. I mean, that you go back to that draft as a star-studded draft, and the Cardinals
they didn't get a star.
Cardinal fashion. They botched it. I remember it was the pandemic, the start of the COVID period, 2020 NFL draft, and unfortunately for Cardinal fans, they took a player that I don't think has a long future with them. I hope I want to be wrong, because it will lead to quality Cardinal play, but just plays a position right now where he's the 7th paid player on the Cardinals, and he's not a starter. He's making almost $10 million this year. He's not a starter.
That's not saying much. Look at who's getting paid. It's
they're over the cap, by the way, is not safe for work. Go look at their over the cap right now. It's Budda not practicing, Kyler Murray not practicing, James Conner, Zach Ertz are top 5, won't be on the team next year, and Isaiah Simmons, who maybe won't be on the team. And then Hollywood Brown. That's why I'm like, can you just give Budda Baker $5 million and say, come play football for us?
No,
dear God, no, they won't do it.
Did see Zach Ertz. Obviously, he wasn't practicing today, but he was out there doing different work with the training staff, with old smoochable, kissable buddy Morris, and he was doing some light jogging. But let's take some sights and sounds, not sounds, but some sights from today's training camp as we were out there today. There's Isaiah. He's lining up. This looks like he's mostly in the slot. And
he's enormous. He's an enormous looking human being.
He is. He's 6'4", he's 240, and he runs a sub 4.40. So it is crazy that we can get kind of fed up with it. I mean, I understand the skill set. You got Jalen Thompson who was out there too. So without Budda Baker, some guys were getting some extra reps today. So got some Simmons reps, and we got some looks at first round pick Paris Johnson. Here's Zaven Collins getting some pass rush reps, working out with Dennis Gardeck, who gave us a funny story about why he's got a terrible SpongeBob tattoo on his arm. But Zaven Collins continues to be primarily a pass rusher. Here's
I don't
Michael
like
Wilson.
this. I'm not into this. Get this
You're
off
not
the
into
screen.
Michael Wilson fielding punts.
What the hell are they doing?
He's like the third punt returner, and then there's your two rookies, John Gaines and Paris Johnson Jr.
I'm into this right here. I could watch this all day. I could watch Paris Johnson Jr. in shorts and a t-shirt all day.
Yeah, and he continues to get all the reps as the starting right tackle. So that's exciting. There's Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray watching on as the quarterbacks get their work in. No David Blau today. It was Toon, Driscoll, and Colt McCoy. Interested to see what's going on with David Blau. So yeah.
There's some of that video I don't like. Number one is Michael Wilson, and then number two is JG, Jonathan Gannon, looks too much like Cliff with the bucket hat and sunglasses. Okay, he needs to get a different look. Did you see him in that video? Toward the end, he's got the bucket. Cliff would love the bucket hat, and he loved the shades. And they look too similar. I'm having PTSD. But in all seriousness, Hollywood Brown's not practicing, right? And
I mean, he was out there. He was running around. JG really didn't even have an update. Like, his foot, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's anything serious.
And then also, Deandre Hopkins isn't on the team. And so this rookie that...
What?
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that or not. This rookie that this phenom that we have, let's protect him. He's got an injury history. Let's not put him to field punts. I'm not into that. Michael Wilson, if he's going to be anywhere, he needs to be in the starting receiving lineup. He needs to get a ton of reps at receiver. He may like to return punts. That's something you can do under David Shaw in the Pac-12, screwing around for a 3-win team at Stanford. If you're going to be part of this,
did you ever get hurt returning punts?
You know what? I don't know, but I could imagine it didn't help. I'm going to say that right now. I don't think it helped.
Who cares? He's a playmaker, right? Get the ball in his hand. He's like the third string punt returner. It's Dortch, it's Rondell Moore, it's Michael Wilson.
That's Dortch's job. Dortch is so versatile, and you know what? Dortch can stay healthy. It's why I love me some Greg Dortch. We're going to continue breaking down mandatory minicamp, but first I'm going to break down and tell you about my friends at OGs. Right now, friends, they're creating experiences to be a part of the PHNX family. The flavors with OGs, they're phenomenal. Perfect time. You want to take an OGs, hang out, enjoy, cooling off in your air conditioning. I would recommend it up to triple digits this week in the Valley, but wherever you go, pop in an OGs. You won't be sorry that you did, especially before bedtime, snooze time. Aquaberry Sleep Edition, ratio to your favorite dreams. Flavor it. CBN, THC 2-to-1 ratio. That CBN compound specifically helps with rest and relaxation. And how about this? The new strawberry and cream, like our orange creamsicle, doubling down on that CBD THC 1-to-1 ratio, rebranded the Happy Balance. I'm happy to try it. And then some. And then we also, the mix bags right now, which are not a mix bag, by the way, the fruits and creams, watermelon, red apple, peach, blackberry, cream, orange creamsicle. Our guy Frank Sanders loves it. And then the peaches and cream, just like 112 said. Pink lemonade dropping on June 21st. Check out OGs online at ogbrands.com and on Instagram at OGs. You can also find their products at your local dispensary, like here in Maricopa. Must be 21 years or older to purchase, Bo.
You mentioned rest and relaxation. Where could you rest and relax better than your More Furniture couch, chair, lounger, wherever it may be, wherever you may live, apartment, condo, house. More Furniture is going to be able to set you up with everything you need for your living room, your dining room, your kids' room, your bedroom, your office, your entertainment center. You can find everything you need at a great price. Morefurniture.com. It's what you want to buy for your home. They got that white glove delivery that we all need as the summer temperatures reach over 100 degrees. Get that white glove delivery. It's well worth it. You'll get them to deliver the furniture to your house, unpack it, get rid of the materials, put it together, and put it exactly where you want. Take advantage of the white glove delivery. They helped furnish our studios. If you see us in our main studio, you see the beautiful chairs and setup that's on our studio set. It's unbelievable. Big thank you to More Furniture. Save big on the best furniture in the Valley when you head over to morefurniture.com. That's morefurniture.com.
Continuing with our breakdown of mandatory minicamp for the Arizona Cardinals, day one. Caboose in the chat just joined. Johnny attacked Simmons yet? You bet your ass I did. Respectfully so. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to attack somebody. That's Clayton Tune, because, Bo, I saw some posts on your Twitter at Bo Brock. I'm impressed with this young man. Again, he hasn't played a look of NFL football yet. He's doing and saying all the right things. He's already, according to you, QB2 for this team, taking snaps behind Colt McCoy. What do you make of Clayton Tune? Is he in the mix for some momentum to at least play a lot in the preseason? How would you grade thus far with what you've seen from the former fifth round pick? Excuse me.
Yeah, I think Clayton Tune's a guy that the Arizona Cardinals want to grab the number 2 spot with Kyler Murray on the men. They want him to back up Colt McCoy. Haven't seen David Blau for unknown reasons recently. He wasn't there at mandatory minicamp, so we see Clayton Tune out there, and Tune had a really decent day throwing the football. There were some goal line situations, and it's tough to throw the ball when you're in tight, right? And there's some tight coverages, not a lot of big windows, and he made some decent throws out there, maybe one to Michael Wilson for a touchdown. He's obviously, he doesn't lack confidence from when he was drafted. He said he was the best quarterback in the class, and then he backed those up, just saying he's not cocky, but he's confident. But as far as he wasn't, kind of played coy a little bit when it was brought up, there's a part of the fan base that wants to see him, as Darren Urban put it, new shiny toy, get the opportunity.
I do love toys.
Clayton Tune's answer to that question.
I mean, I'm here to do my job. I just want to, if I get an opportunity, I want to go in and make the most of it. I'm not really, I didn't even know if people were saying that, but if I get my opportunity, I'm going to go and make the most of it.
There you go. I mean, pretty cliche, pretty stock answer, but I mean, like I said, he's improving. Like I think he had probably some tough days in the last couple of weeks, but he's really making maybe not as aggressive decisions out there, throwing the football and finding some nice wider windows and taking advantage of it.
Yeah, and he's going to be the most popular guy in the room for this fan base until Kyler Murray comes back, because Cardinal fans, for better or worse, know what they have in Colt McCoy. And unless Colt McCoy comes out and plays really good football to start the year, which is not out of the realm of possibility, but certainly the Cardinals an underdog in all 17 games this fall, that's going to be difficult for Colt McCoy to do. So if you're losing, you might as well lose and see what you have with young players and see if they can provide a spark. And I'm with that group. I don't know if Colt McCoy should start week 1 against, or excuse me, Clayton Tune should start week 1 against the Commanders. But if Colt McCoy starts 0-3 and Kyler's a couple weeks from coming back and see what you have in him. Throw him out there. He played a ton of snaps at the collegiate level. And I know it wasn't a Power 5 school. 5 years worthy of snaps. He threw, I think we've got 70 touchdowns in his last 2 years at Houston. Play him the entirety of the preseason. Give him all the first team reps in the preseason, the first halves in all 3 games. See what you have, Russell Wilson style, circa 2012 or whenever that was, and then see if he can play. Because if he can't, he looks overwhelmed, then at least everybody can say, like, yeah, Colt stinks, but we saw Clayton Tune in the preseason, and that ain't it. But, man, oh, man, I do think that there's a little bit momentum. But, again, Bo, I preface all that by saying all of it's moot if Kyler Murray comes back sooner rather than later. And you had an opportunity to talk with JG about Kyler Murray's status.
Yeah, Jonathan Gannon gave us the latest update on Kyler, and Josh Weinfuss asked some kind of point blank. Could he be ready what's his status for training camp? What's his status for week 1? And this is what JG had to say.
We'll see. A long way to go, Josh. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's 5 or 6 weeks until we start, I think, or 5.5 or whatever it is. But we'll take it day by day, and he's doing a good job improving his game every day. In the training room, in the meeting rooms, he's out there. He's another one like Budda. He asks a lot of questions, which is good. He's engaged. And typically, though, I think sometimes he flexes on me because he'll ask me a question when he knows the answer. And I'm like, dude, you already know the answer. Like, why are you asking me that? But he's doing a good job.
Flexes on his coach.
So that's a very deliberate answer. It's another political answer by JG in the best possible way. You see what he did there? So he talked about, well, we're still a little bit of ways away, not from Kyler maybe coming back, but from training camp. And when we posted that video, when it got posted on PHNX Cardinals Day, I think a lot of people were like, oh, he's far away from coming back. That's not what Gannon said. But then he was quickly like, even if he's not soon to come back. Like, let me throw a positive out there about K1. Let me get some positive momentum going on about our relationship. That's very deliberate by Jonathan Gannon. Just I think a press conference savant already early in his coaching tenure with the way he handles himself to the media, not how he handles the media, just how he carries himself. So I'm going to tell you right now, I think he's going to do some on-field work at training camp. I think he's going to be moving around, and I think we're going to get some momentum. I don't think he's going to be a statue in July and August, Bo.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the old card player in me, right? Did I see? Is Jonathan Gannon giving us a tell? Every time I feel like we ask him about Kyler Murray. Now, it wasn't shown on this video, but before he answers, he takes a big swig. Today he was drinking blue Gatorade. Takes a big swig out of his Gatorade. I think when I've asked him about K1, he's taking a big swig out of his water. Is that a tell? What's he sitting on? What's he bluffing on as far as Kyler Murray? Maybe it's nothing, but it's really interesting. Anytime we ask him about Kyler, he's got to take a gulp of his water. He's got to get hydrated. I don't know. I mean, Kyler Murray, the way that they've approached the quarterback position this offseason, it's like they want they've got their backups. They're going to play backup. The most you want to see your backup play. And that's not a lot of games. So be interesting to see if they have a plan in place that they'll never obviously reveal for what timetable they expect for Kyler Murray to come back.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I think everybody's hopeful right now because it just changes the dynamic of the Cardinals in their season. And he's out there every day. I don't know if you just saw this, Bo, but Von Miller came out last week. Von Miller tore his ACL, not a complete, restructure of his knee, but he tore his ACL right around the same time Kyler Murray tore
right?
it. Yeah. He came out and said, it's like, I'll be shocked if I'm not ready by the start of the season. And he's not going to go on PUP. And he's an old man. He's in his 30s. He's playing edge rusher. It's a violent role. And so why does Von get to miss none of the season? And you've got pundits saying Kyler Murray is going to miss the entirety of the season. I just, something doesn't smell right.
There's different expectations, but no, I get what you're saying. I mean, as far as what the Bills are going to, I mean, every game is going to be huge. They're going to be playing for, a first round bye in the AFC. And every game is going to be paramount. But no, I completely agree. I mean, is Vaughn 34, right? He was part of that 2011 draft.
It was Peterson's draft. He got drafted over P2. And Patrick Peterson was younger because Vaughn obviously went to Texas A&M, was a little bit older. I don't know. I also, Kyler Murray has a desire to get back quickly. We know that after talking to Jonathan Gannon. Gannon was adamant, speaking to you and I at the Combine, that they are not going to put Kyler Murray out there until they are 100% sure that he is ready to go, medically cleared. And again, what is that? That's different for different people. But man, I mean, Kyler is in the peak of his prime right now. You would think that would also contribute to his rehab. I would assume a young man at 25, 26 years old is going to rebound faster than somebody in their 30s. Wouldn't you?
I don't know if it was, the old staff, but, Cliff in his final weeks was saying they expected Kyler to return on a quicker timetable than most because he's such a freak. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to go that far down this and start saying things that we're going to regret. I mean, as far as when we expect him back, but, that's the old coaching staff, front office, and say what you want about him, but they had expectations of Kyler returning in a more timely fashion and not missing, we've heard half the season. We've heard the bulk of the season. I just don't think that is going to be something that the Cardinals are going to approach.
Jalen in the chat, Kyler's injury was much later and he didn't have the surgery until January. I think it was even if it was a month later and he waited until January to have the surgery for his swelling to go down. Von Miller has said he's not going to miss any of the season. So let's say Kyler Murray, it pushes him back a month behind Von. That's early October. So, that's what, at least I've been adamant. I think that's the timeline. I think early to mid-October is, missing 4 to 6 games is realistic.
Miller had surgery the day after Kyler tore his knee up.
Mm-hmm. That's
so he had it 3 weeks before, and then Kyler had his surgery on January 3rd. So he tore it December 12th, right? And then Vaughn had it that Tuesday. Kyler tore it on Monday Night Football, and then Kyler had his 3 weeks later. So it's I mean, it's becoming more and more routine. But look, it's also, this organization is a little bit more. I think they're going to be more cautious how they approach this because they're realistic. Like Steve Keiman crew and Cliff Kingsbury, they didn't believe in rebuilding. And this team is embracing a rebuild. Outside of their head coach, he wants to win games. But as far as the people making decisions, realize, hey, this is not like a team that we're building to win a title. We want to build a sustainable, consistently successful team, and in doing so, we're probably going to wear it a little bit this year. And that's why we're wearing the Tank Tuesday. That's why Tank Tuesdays exist. People they think it's not cool we're doing Tank Tuesday. This is the celebration side of Tank. This is the fun side of Tank, because there is a fun side as far as tanking, because look at all the draft capital they have, how many mock drafts we can run through, and the top prospects that we can mock to the Arizona Cardinals, and all the cap space. That's not fun. That's what Tank Tuesday is all about. It's not about losing football games.
Is it fun, though, if Kyler Murray's can't come back, or maybe they hold him out and then they get the first overall pick and then they draft a different quarterback that sends Kyler Murray out of town? So many layers with this. So many layers. Thomas, thank you so much. $5 super chat. The 2023 season is just preseason for 2024. I think there's a lot of truth to that. That doesn't mean we can't have fun this year. And this team, hopefully, I'm hoping I'm surprised, because good hell, we're deserving of a surprise season in a good way. There have been plenty of seasons with expectations a la 2022 where everybody thought playoff team, great team, contender, terrible, top 5 draft pick, right? Wisenhunt's 2010 season, same situation. Can we get a season where, hey, this team's going to be terrible? They're not they're surprisingly fun every weekend, and they're competitive, and they're going to win games they're not supposed to. We deserve that.
There's a lot of business to be taken care of, though, this season. And as far as figuring out a lot about your new coaching staff, your front office, there's going to be, Monty Ossenfort navigating, finding players and supplementing this roster, and finding out about this draft class and what players can play and which guys can join the foundational group, core group that they're going to move forward with. And we talk about Kyler Murray. We still have a lot to learn about Kyler Murray post Cliff Kingsbury, and what type of player he, can turn back the clock and then, grow into. And there's going to be a lot to that this season, even though the expectations aren't, hey, contend for a playoff spot and make a playoff run.
Esteban, Vaughn can have limited rush attempts based on situations. Kyler can't. Kyler's game is 50% based with his legs. No one has seen Kyler use only his arm. Well, I disagree to some effect. I think Kyler wants to throw from the pocket, and I think felt like he had to run because he didn't have a lot of support in the prior offensive system that they ran. And his pass protection was pretty mediocre. I think if you told Kyler Murray you're going to be a pocket passer with a little bit of running peppered in, I think that's the ideal situation. Why are you laughing?
We got some BS poll posted by our producer, basically questioning the validity of our rolled up sleeve Tank Tuesday. I can't believe. I mean, Ete Brute. What is this? What kind of sabotage is this?
I came in and I saw that you had your sleeve rolled. I was like, the fuck is going on?
Let me tell
I
you
saw
a
Johnny
story of how dedicated I am to Tank Tuesday. I went in 100-degree weather. I navigated downtown Phoenix. I went to several stores seeking a tank top. And the only one that I did find was the net one, to where you would have seen my nipples, and nobody wanted to see that.
If you would have taken care of,
like Drew Barrymore's brother in 50 First Dates, the steroid fiend. And nobody wants me to look like that. And, and I went into Fry's, because I've seen Fry's. Sometimes they have like a limited, like D-backs token t-shirt or something. And I would have just cut the sleeves off like last week. I saw a guy just ripping off bottles of liquor, just taking bottles of liquor off the shelf and putting them into his backpack.
Love our town. It's like the Nuggets win the championship. It's like time to start drinking, time to start stealing booze, baby. It's a long off season. We can help you though. Maybe not with that, but with our friends from Saturday Neon. It's a company started by 2 friends and former college roommates that make officially licensed collegiate logo neon signs. LED of your specialty. Whether you're a diehard fan, casual supporter, you're going to love the way these light up your space with the Arizona colors. Saturday Neons are made with high quality materials and are backed with a 2-year warranty. They're shipped with everything you need. You get the mount, you get the power cord, you get the dim. So every sign is perfect and operated and installed correctly. Officially licensed for 19 schools, including everybody here out west: Arizona, Colorado, Alabama, Wisconsin, Auburn, and many others. As you head east, the options only get better. Great for offices, man caves, dorm rooms. How about a graduation gift? If you're slacking on a graduation gift from the spring, perfect time. Basements, man caves, bar areas, and how about Father's Day? Now is the time for you to go to SaturdayNeon.com. Use that promo code PHNX. You get 10% off your order and free shipping over $200. It's Saturday Neon.
You guys are finding out how bad of a procrastinator I am, because I figured like post our inaugural Tank Tuesday that I'd get a couple tanks in my closet, and I haven't. And you guys have some great ideas. Thunder saying Amazon Essentials men's slim fit tank top, and Esteban saying that I probably did buy the net tank for myself post show. Might make my way back there. Who knows? But here's one thing I know that I'm going to spend my money on: more Shady Rays. I've already done so. I've got this first pair, and I've already got another pair on their way. I've already bought some for my family as well. I'm taking advantage of the deal of the season at Shady Rays, using the code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of sunglasses. Get those premium polarized shades for yourself. It's gear that's built to last. When you pick up Shady Rays, you're like, no, these aren't cheap, gas station sunglasses, even though they don't cost much more than that. No, they're unbelievable. They're just like boutique brand sunglasses, brand name sunglasses. They're actually better than that. I've got more of a bigger brand name sunglass that just collect dirt and dust in my truck. Get in there and hang out at Shady Rays. They've got the store location up in North Scottsdale at Kierland. Check out all the great sunglasses they have on display in their store, and check out what they have going on online at shadyrays.com. And don't forget to use that code PHNX for 50% off 2 pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades that are rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people.
Yes, we love our tanks. Our sleeves have gone bye-bye. Just like Isaiah Simmons. Will he go bye-bye? What about Deandre Hopkins? He's gone bye-bye. And we were talking about Isaiah Simmons yesterday on the program.
Deandre,
excuse me. Deandre Hopkins, we talked about him on the program yesterday, and that it's sad, really, the farewell free agent tour that he's having right now, where we thought robust suitors, he gets cut, everybody's in line. You heard, football Twitter, NFL Twitter, every team, 31 teams should be signing DeAndre Hopkins. And he's taking a visit with Tennessee, and he's primed to take a visit with New England, 2 teams that are not contenders, frankly. So we put a clip out on PHNX Cardinals yesterday, and it was liked by a certain all-pro wide receiver. There it is, DeAndre Hopkins liking the tweet. As Bo Brock in quotations, this is the saddest recruiting tour I think I've ever seen. Listen and subscribe. So DeAndre Hopkins, if you go and look at his feed, he's been liking a lot of, let's just call it negativity. And we're not trying to be negative, Bo. I think we're just keeping it real. We've gone through the 10 stages of grief when partying with DeAndre Hopkins, and it started in January, and it culminated a couple weeks ago when he got cut from the Cardinals. And now I think I might owe Albert Breer and company an apology, where people were like, he doesn't have a market. People don't want to pay him. And I had the rose-colored glasses on while he was here. I disregarded the PED suspension, which he didn't have a history of that. He was never injured, so he had a couple blips here. It's easy to look at the Cardinals' dysfunction and be like, well, D-Hop's great. He's not a part, but he was part of the dysfunction. And now teams are making him pay for it by not paying him what he thinks he deserves.
Yeah, I mean, he's keeping receipts. That's what he's doing as far as him liking this. So maybe when he does sign with a team, hopefully better than Tennessee or better than, catching passes from Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi, he can say, what's so sad about me joining, Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City or Josh Allen in Buffalo. And that's what we expected. I think that's why we're surprised. We thought that those were going to be the suitors because those were the teams that were loosely tied to him throughout, the trade rumors that were going on throughout the entire offseason. I think we're a little shocked that his market is as quiet as it is. But, not to fully just do a cornerback backpedal on that. I mean, it's just he went to Tennessee. He went to a country concert, and he's considering catching passes from Ryan Tannehill. I mean, it's just I wish better for DeAndre Hopkins in the twilight of his career.
Yeah, I It's not my place to say, well, you've made enough money, go ring chase, right? But I mean, he was pretty adamant. Like had he come to us and Ford and Company, like, I want to be a Cardinal, I want to retire here, maybe they would have worked something out. But he went on every podcast and listed quarterbacks he'd rather play with. At no time did he say Mac Jones or Will Levis, right? I even think once remember he did like a thumbs up or a thumbs down or like a smiley face, frowny face. And he was like frowning at the prospect of playing in New England. And now he's taking a visit there.
Yeah.
Just this whole thing, he forced his way out. Kudos to him. He gets $22 million not to play for the Cardinals. But your money can be better served spending elsewhere.
Right. Well, it's just like he's keeping receipts. Everybody's kept receipts during, that the thumbs up, thumbs down thing. And it's just like, see, when you talk a lot, sometimes you put your foot in your mouth, and sometimes or you make the wrong hand gesture and thumbs down the wrong team. So it's really going to be fascinating to see when he lands with the team. Is it a 2-day thing in Foxborough that he's doing? That I see that? So
sad. What's not sad though is the deals we got going on at the merchandise locker. Han shot first in the chat. Johnny better not ruin that beautiful PHNX shirt by cutting the sleeves off. I would never do that. This is the hottest shirt, in my opinion, because I love it. The PHNX merchandise locker, and you can get it right now. Half off. How can you do it? Let me tell you, it's the Father's Day sale at the merchandise locker. Buy one, get one, half off. All shirts and hats, half off. You only got to the 18th, though. So Father's Day, it's 5 days away. They're getting shipping bins out as fast as they can, so no guarantee it arrives by Father's Day. Just do what I do. Show them receipts. There's some receipts for you, right? Look at that. Might be the worst farmer's tan of the date. That's John DePaz, jack of all trades for PHNX. Not with a traditional cutoff, but I'll tell you,
his shoulders have never seen the light of day. He's got like a dungeon tan on his shoulders. I've never seen such a more defined farmer's tan than on Sean DePaz, one of our hosts of the PHNX D-back
Sean,
side.
are these real tanks if they roll up their sleeves?
No, yes, they are.
Because the chat even said no.
I don't think so.
I put a poll in. Yeah.
Here's what's going to happen for people who are complaining about that. How many tank tops should two grown men own? We're going to be tanking the entirety of the year. So every Tuesday, I don't want you to have to see the same old smelly shirt tank top with mold on it.
Wash it?
2 tank tops.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna up I'm embarrassed. My procrastination got the best of me, and look, we're gonna step it up. We're gonna be more professional. We're fans of Tank Tuesday. I'm a big proponent of it. So we'll properly celebrate from here on forth. I'm going to Tim Tebow it. Like, I'm outside of the tiers. I'm going to promise you that I'm not going to F up again, and we're going to take it seriously as far as Tank Tuesday.
When the peeps in DMVR get off their nuggets high, can they call us and can we collaborate on a Tank Tuesday tank top for the merchandise locker? Here's what we need though, is like, if people want a tank top, which why wouldn't you? From the merchandise locker, we need your allegiance ahead of time that you will go and purchase it with us, that we can have a designated PHNX Cardinals tank top to rock every Tuesday. So let us know. Here's what I need. If you will consider purchasing one, like this video down below, like it. We're going to share this around the YouTube algorithm. Mandatory minicamp day 2, Bo Brock. Any storylines? Now there's a +1 from Doc's cards there. We love to see that. Any storylines that you're looking at tomorrow, Manana, the last day of open mandatory camp?
Yeah, just following up on Budda Baker, seeing if there's a sliver of a chance that maybe he gets out there before the team breaks for like their last break before training camp, and we'll just kind of it might just be kind of the status quo from day 1 to day 2. They get in, get out, and then they're on to their off season before camp starts at July 27th.
Yeah. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your podcast. We are back mañana. Subscribe to PHNX Sports on YouTube. We are quickly approaching 14,000 followers on YouTube. That's thanks to all of you. Follow my guy at Bo Brock. Follow PHNX_Cardinals on Twitter. I'm at Johnny Venerable. We're back mañana. Have everybody a tankful Tank Tuesday.